there's one question which Shashank, I'll probably pose to you and see if anyone else wants to add on that. Is the whole thing on fintech and financing, etc. How do you? The question is, of course, banking and NBFCs have not so much penetrated directly to farmers. What's the opportunity? How can a fintech player, sort of evaluate the riskiness of credit? How can do you see a good opportunity, big opportunity there for a B2C sort of fintech player?
Certainly, and I think the used case can be drawn from MFIs, the way how MFI sector has been growing consistently in India. But yes, opportunity here. Since you're talking about fintech, so of course, the banks are mandated to lend to farmers, right? And despite of the penetration is low. And then at the same time, on the other hand, the borrowing rate at farmers is mind-boggling. So the simple reason is that the gap here is that that banks, they don't have ways to evaluate the credit worthiness of potential borrowers. As simple as that. So the simple fintech opportunity is that some sort of data play, some sort of let's say tech play, right? To bring this credit worthiness data in front of banks or financial institutions to create larger pipeline. At the same time, again, depending upon the aspiration, deployment is another interesting opportunity, right? That once this credit worthiness is established, then again, because even as on date, the penetration of banks in rural area is that's not up to the mark. Even as on date, the private banks, they are not very well penetrated in rural area, right? So the deployment is another interesting thing, opportunity for fintech. So and the good part here is that the way how I see that, in comparison of any lending product, if you're there are ways to mitigate the risk, right? Because the credit cycle or the need of the credit cycle is really shorter, right? In case of horticulture crop, it's just 3-4 months long crop. In case of field crop, it's 5-6 months long crop. And farmers, they need loan just for one cropping cycle. So that means that that because of around this shorter cropping cycle, the risk can be mitigated. But yes, I think the challenge, the main reason of not having so many fintech players, or let's say inefficiency in this space, was the penetration of mobile and technology in rural area, which is kind of which is improving significantly nowadays, and that's where kind of people have started looking at this side for opportunity.